The Mystery of the Lawn Ridge Coin. 1870, Marshall County, Illinois, USA. In a small town called Lawn Ridge, a man named Jacob Moffett was excavating a well when he discovered a strange object deep underground. Found amidst the mud far below the surface, it was a small, round object that looked remarkably like a coin. It was engraved with bizarre patterns that no one had ever seen before. A strange discovery. At first glance, the object caught in the tools looked like an ordinary copper coin. Its round shape and thickness were similar to a modern 25-cent quarter. However, once the dirt was brushed away, the strange engravings were revealed. On one side, two figures wearing what appeared to be headdresses. On the other side, a beast with long, pointed ears, large eyes and mouth, and claw-like arms. The edges, clearly engraved with unidentified symbols that looked like hieroglyphics. Moffett and his workers were convinced this was no ordinary item. To uncover the truth, he sent the object along with a detailed description to the Smithsonian Institution, the national research organization under the U.S. federal government. The investigation. Moffett's letter reached the Smithsonian in July 1871, about 11 months later. Initially, Joseph Henry, the secretary of the Smithsonian at the time, showed little interest in a letter from a well digger. However, after reviewing the detailed report, his curiosity was piqued. Could an ancient coin buried deep underground with strange symbols be a remnant of an unknown ancient civilization? Henry decided the object required expert scrutiny and forwarded it to William E. Du Bois, a renowned numismatist and artifact expert. Du Bois analyzed the object and presented his findings to the American Philosophical Society on December 1, 1871. The impossible artifact. Du Bois interpreted the object not necessarily as currency, but as a small ornamental piece where the grooves were carved using a sharp tool. However, he could not explain the uniformity of its thickness. If an ancient craftsman had created this by hammering metal flat, some parts would naturally be thinner or thicker than others. Yet this coin was so precisely uniform in thickness that it felt as though it had been processed through a machine. The biggest mystery, however, was the depth at which it was found. According to Moffett, the coin was discovered about 35 meters, approximate 115 feet, underground. To reach that level of soil sedimentation, it would have taken at least 3,500 years. In other words, the production date of this object would have to be traced back to the BC era, since it was impossible to manufacture a coin with such precision using the known technology of that time. If this were truly an artifact from that period, it would be a major discovery capable of rewriting human history. Voice tried to calm the school's excitement by pointing out the characteristics of the river. He argued that if soil and gravel had been swept in by the movement of water, the terrain could have formed much faster than previously estimated. Conflicting hypotheses. The geologist Leslie proposed two main hypotheses regarding the coin. It was likely an astrological amulet. It was simply a toy from a few hundred years ago that someone had been playing with. Leslie's reasoning for the amulet theory was simple. He believed the unfamiliar patterns and hieroglyphs could be interpreted as the 12 signs of the zodiac. If it wasn't that, he dismissed it as a prank, an object artificially buried by someone in the Middle Ages to trick future generations. However, Alexander Winchell, a geologist who viewed the coin from a strictly academic perspective, firmly disagreed with Leslie's prank theory. He argued, the hypothesis that someone buried an object centuries ago as a joke, expecting it to be rediscovered at that exact spot, is far too unrealistic. Public interest and prehistoric theories. Winchell eventually generated significant academic interest by personally exhibiting the actual coin at the American Association for the Advancement of Science in Buffalo. In his 1881 book, Sparks from a Geologist's Hammer, he recounted the amazing discovery and described the strange artifact in detail. As the coin was revealed to the public, rumors began to circulate that it might be a prehistoric artifact. This theory gained traction because the mound builder tradition in eastern North America dates back as far as 3500 BC. Illinois is home to many such ancient ruins. Some speculated that the civilization responsible for these mounds possessed advanced technology capable of minting such a coin. Proponents of this theory argued that North America's wetlands and acidic soil are extremely poor for preserving artifacts. They believed the traces of an unknown ancient civilization had been erased, leaving only this single coin protected deep within the hard clay. An unsolved OOPart. To this day, the mystery of the Illinois coin remains unsolved. It is categorized as an OOPart, out-of-place artifact, an object that doesn't seem to belong to the time period in which it was found. Unfortunately, as time passed, the physical coin vanished without a trace, making further analysis impossible. While sketches and some academic records remain, systematic research using modern technology is no longer an option. What was the true identity of the coin found deep underground that day? Perhaps the truth remains buried even deeper in the earth.